Talking Show with Michal is back. Quick commercials. Uh, Vaccination for vaccination. Vaccinate yourself against all the vaccines and never vaccinate again. Accept 5 booster shots just in case. Anyway, motherfuckers, everybody up, vaccinated, in, here, out, and about. If you wanna fly, better stick yourself with unknown substances, or even if they known, maybe they not. How a virus expert can be pushing a vaccine? Ask yourself that question. This message has been provided by Society of People that believe in believing and questioning. Bye bye. Alright, today I want to talk about basically millennials and just in general understanding and perspective. Maybe I'm going to touch a little bit on meaning of life, motivation, and just in general kind of strength and weaknesses of peoples of today's time. So my perspective at millennials of today's time is that most of them, to begin with, so sorry, it's time to shut the fuck up, I guess. And right away, let me say this. I know it's very possible that this podcast could be extremely controversial and it could be taken the wrong way because I understand there's a pretty good chance that decent amount of people that listen are somewhat millennials. But let me tell you this to begin with. Me personally, I'm 33 years old, so technically speaking, I'm not really a millennial type of person exactly. But my mindset, in many ways, has been and it still is a little bit of a millennial thing. Because, for example, in many ways, I'm very privileged. If, for example, I came here with my whole family, I have parents, and through good and bad, I always had support of family and parents, and that alone gives you like a extreme benefit that some people never to have anyone out there that really could help them in a way that family can help you, because friends can help you and you can find people in your life that can truly help you, but overall nobody will help you as much as family does. So me personally, I'm kind of like a millennial type of person, but the thing is, I went through a lot of adversity in my life, and even that adversity itself hasn't been so great, but from my perspective, I still went through a lot of crazy bullshit, mostly psychological, not really physical. I went through some stuff when I was really broke, struggling for money, struggling for. Never really went hungry, but really struggling for food, just staying afloat. But before I ever really stepped out of my parents' house, this and that, I was straight up very ignorant type of person, and I never really realized till I moved out how good I had. And even till today, I have so good, and I can do so many different things because I always can fall back passively on my parents, or at least have some help. And the same goes for my brothers, my family. And like, I'm very fortunate to have that. But that being said, I believe huge issue with today's existence, upside down, understanding perspective, and all of this sort of stuff. Also, the unrest, the divide and conquer. Everybody's angry. Everybody's like a social media warrior saving the world by burning it down. Why all of this arises? There is obviously, it's like a multi-layer cake, and meaning multi-layer, it means like it's 1,000 layer cake cake, or even cakes combined together. So I won't be able to explain it in a deep sense of the word, because literally, if you would want to explain it, you would have to write a pretty thick book on it, and even then you wouldn't cover. But I will try to cover some things that I understand and some things that I see, how all of this sort of privileged millennial type of kids without much of life experience wanting to save the world, they pretty much uh, sooner are burning it down and than saving it at all. To begin with, one thing for sure, saving the world is like a really grandiose idea that most people or pretty much everybody would get behind. The thing is, the world itself, we cannot save the world. We are the part of, although we are destroying the world, that I agree. And in many ways, we are burning this, like literally the whole planet. We are sucking all the resources out and basically sucking the blood out of the world. But when we're talking about saving the planet, it's just like an abstraction. And one of the things that people don't understand is that we do not own nature. Nature owns us. So, we maybe can kind of be saving ourselves, maybe, but the world itself, we don't really have much to say. If the world wants, the world can finish the humanity right away. But that being said, it doesn't matter. I was using saving the world for millennials, this and that, because a lot of those people, they really have somewhat grandiose ideas and they really want to save things. So, a lot of this is just just an abstraction. Yeah, it as like a slogan type of idea, like fighting the world, for example. It is pretty great, but when you look into it, and you might start understanding that there is not even a chance to save the world, let's say, and then people benefiting from it, all this sort of stuff. It it means that people are like following false premises and also false promises as well. And although people kind of want to do something great, it's not so great. There's the saying, road to hell is paved with good intentions. The most of the grown up millennials, I believe millennials are so, they are perfect to take this back, because they are those type of people that maybe when we talk about intentions themselves, maybe they do have good intentions, but they don't really, a lot of them. And in general, I am generalizing, I'm not saying every single millennial, because I know a lot of people growing up that are quite put together individuals, and they have a lot of qualities that I'm extremely surprised about, and it's difficult for me to even believe that there's people actually have those qualities. But yeah, there's a lot of millennials that are very balanced human beings. But basically, that's what I'm basically heading to, that millennials are very unbalanced. And it begins for most part, either they're privileged or they've been brought up in a way that they don't really understand the world. And another thing is, when you are young, you can understand a lot of things, but certain experiences and certain knowledge type of stuff, you need to gain with life experience. And if you basically are like 18, 20, 22, it's kind of difficult, even though you might understand the concepts. A lot of times, if you do not live it, you won't really exactly understand it. And I've been through it too. Like I started, I myself being like a millennial type of kid at some point. Uh, when I had like the best time of my life, technically speaking, like I had everything provided for me. My parents, I would live with my parents, for example, but all of this, and my parents would always provide almost everything for me. Not everything, thank God, because they didn't spoil me. My parents kind of spoiled me, but at the same time they didn't spoil me, because they would get me everything that's necessary for me always. But all the like uh, extravagant things I would want that are not necessary for me. They will like work for it and buy it for yourself. You're not gonna get it from me, you know. And that's actually amazing because I had to work for things that I wanted that my parents didn't approve of, or even if they approved of it, it wasn't like a necessity for me, so they wouldn't buy it. And they could have bought it, but they understood that like somebody needs to understand value of money, this and that. So, and long story short, when I was like a millennial type of kid, I was very lost. Although I had it so good, I was unhappy, unhealthy, unbalanced. I didn't understand who I am, how to be happy, how to exist. And I didn't really have a deep type of thinking because I was kind of living, from my perspective at that moment, when I was like that person, when I was 19, 20, saw myself as a complete loser. But you know, I'm not saying all millennials are losers, but at that point, I saw myself like a complete loser. And basically, everything that went wrong in my life, I would always blame something or someone and always find like an enemy to blame or somebody to blame. But at the end of the day, I never understood that for most part, all my shortcomings or my uh, anything that made me unhappy was basically caused by me at the end of the day. And I think a lot of millennials, and not only millennials, just people in general today's, we kind of live in like a victim mentality culture. Even when I was saying about $15 wage, minimum wage with Al, with the podcast with Al, that's actually what I mean because, in my opinion, $15 minimum wage is a complete bullshit. It's a reverse psychology type of thing. And somebody does not want people to know their own value, and they don't want regular people to value themselves higher. So, even $15 minimum wage, suppose, is something that we cannot do. But you know, if people would really understand their value, I think there'd be like minimum wage would be like $25, if not more. I'm just, you know, I'm just using it as an example. So, long story short, I believe in many ways the way we are being brought up, it's kind of there's a lot of things that we are taught are like idealistic. Meaning, for example, Disney movies, right? And I use Disney as an example, but in general, media, Disney movie, pop culture, all this sort of stuff, they show you like ideal marriage, ideal relationship, ideal kids playing with each other, ideal cartoons, ideal stories that always have a happy ending. But the thing is, and all those stories, all those tales can be based in reality and truly could be applicable. But for most part, the thing is, most of it is ideal, and in a lot of cases is not even real, and it's completely, not completely, but in a huge way, very fabricated. The thing is, many people kind of get stuck with that sort of perspective that uh, world needs to be ideal. But you know, like I was saying and have been saying forever, that if you go to the woods, you just step into the woods, you can get your face eaten by mama bear, and nobody cares what sort of plans you have, where you're supposed to be. You're supposed to fly to Hawaii on Sunday. It doesn't really matter. The mama bear can eat your fucking face, and that's it. So it seems to me that people nowadays are kind of, they don't really face adversity. And not only that, and that goes with, they don't, because they don't face too much adversity, they don't really understand hardships of life. And you know, me personally, I didn't have extreme hardships of life, but one thing that really showed me something that kind of gave me that sort of understanding that life is not fair, because that's the thing. ideally speaking, life's supposed to be fair, but life itself is not fair at all. And in some ways it is, but for most part, it's a lot of things are just fucking random. And somehow, people of today don't really understand it. And this is going to be really hard for me to break it down because there's too many aspects of it. But one thing for sure, one of the biggest things why there is so much craziness going on is because many people of today's times, they don't really go through adversity. We have it too good, and having too good is actually bad for us because for most part people are not going through enough adversity. And like financial adversity, for sure there's a lot of people financially struggling, this and that. But long story short, most of us, even homeless people, are fat. So when you have a society where homeless people are fat, you know just think about it. People that are don't have a house, don't have food, don't have money, and they are struggling so much, but they still can be fat. uh, you know, Even that alone kind of tells you that there is something wrong with this picture, because homeless people in general, they should be pretty skinny, just as a general idea and perspective. And and let me say, joke from Louis C.K. For example, he says it's from my perspective, this joke is really describing what I'm trying to describe perfectly. He says, everything's amazing. We have, and I'm paraphrasing. I'm not even sure if that the joke of his is exactly how I say it, but he says like that. Everything's amazing. We have cell phones. We have flying planes. Um all of this sort of stuff, and most people are unhappy. But everything's amazing. But that's the thing. That goes back to what I was saying. We have it too good, and most people do not go through adversity. And on top of it, they have the virtuous type of thinking where everything should be ideal. And then, like I was saying, life is not ideal at all. And on top of it, when you don't have that adversity that I'm talking about, you don't really understand that there is things that you need to go through. And a lot of times in life, to achieve something, you really need to go through miles of shit. And to some people that might sound stupid, but in general, you really need to kind of suffer to get to like a to enjoy your life. And that could sound counterproductive, but it's amazing. And let me give you another saying, which is, I said it on the podcast, but I'm going to repeat it. Light feels the brightest at the end of a long, long, dark tunnel. Meaning, if you go through a very long, very dark tunnel, the light you will see at the end will feel amazing. But if only thing you know is light, you won't even appreciate it. So yeah, we all need some sort of adversity in life. And it, for example, I always talk about jujitsu, martial arts, and it's for a reason, because that's one of the biggest things that gave me discipline and like a good dose of adversity on a daily, weekly basis. Because, for example, jujitsu in many ways, I don't agree that jujitsu is real fighting, this and that, but there is aspects to jujitsu that it's reality. You cannot pretend to do good. You cannot imagine you are the best black belt ever, and then you go and people beat you up. Long story short, it's like a representation of real world where either you put up or shut up. But in today's times, people are virtue signaling, gurus, being all this, all that, but it's only for the camera, it's only for social media. And there is a lot to all of this, and I really kind of believe that somebody really wants for just general public to be kind of weak, uninspired, timid. Please, if you do not know the word timid itself, please get a what's the name? Get a dictionary. I'm not gonna actually explain timid because, in my opinion, you should read it for yourself and understand it for yourself. Because I truly believe that's what somebody wants for general public to be, timid. And it's crazy because I believe that's another aspect to it all. We kind of becoming just really offended, anxious. Uh, what's the name? Sorry, I blank out the name of. Shit, I completely forgot the name, the name of the word, which is very simple, and it kind of I kind of needed to make the point. Outraged. So it's really easy to be outraged nowadays, and the biggest point to it all is that many people that are outraged, they don't even understand what they are outraged about, because they don't understand many of the virtues and ideas that they are fighting for. I'm gonna use one of the examples I've been repeating: people fighting racism by being racist. And there's a billion examples like that. I just don't want to kind of repeat all the stuff I've been repeating and saying, and all this redundant stuff about today upside down world. But that's how all this kind of works. That basically people think they are fighting for something, but they don't really understand the cause exactly, and they also, on top of it all, they completely forget and misunderstand and don't understand that they could be even helping the cause with their outrage and stuff. And obviously, in my opinion, that's also what it is. It's like a lot of things out there are reverse psychology, and like I was saying, with minimum wage or the racism stuff, you know fighting racism by being racist, it's just ridiculous, and somehow all of this stuff flies. Also, you know just for example, being yourself, as an idea, most people would believe they are being themselves. But when you look at the whole spectrum of humanity and modern culture, I truly believe it's a rare human. It's very rare out there to find a human that's truly being themselves. Because me personally, I can tell you with my experience, for past 4 or 5 years, I'm really trying to be myself, and really, truly, truly trying to follow my dreams, trying to follow what feels right in my heart. But I struggle with being myself my whole life, meaning that I was, for most part, I was not really confident about myself. I never really knew what to follow, who to be, how to behave, and basically, I was kind of like ashamed of it. I was kind of intimidated, and what I'm basically heading to, I didn't trust myself to begin with. And I believe this whole upside down thing is that in general, most people have no trust for themselves at all, and they kind of looking into somebody's else's input or output to be something that they don't really know. And I believe, food for thought, but I truly believe real meaning of life and really like sort of happiness type of thing is to be yourself and trust yourself. And I understand in a way, some people could take this, man, Michał is fucking retarded and he says water is wet. But if you really, really contemplate on it, you might really see what I'm saying. but it's very difficult because in order, for example, I found myself after literally over a decade of sort of trying to understand myself and really going through a lot of adversity, going through breakups, work related stuff, just, being broke, having a lot of money, having conflicts with people, fighting people, all this sort of stuff, and always not really being sure of myself, this and that. And it took me a decade to truly understand what am I about and truly, truly believe in myself as myself. And once again, thousand layer cake, it's so important, so unbelievably hard to unravel. And I would need to do 10 podcasts to somehow vaguely describe it. But long story short, people, believe in yourself and also trust yourself. But as I'm always saying, just because you trust things doesn't mean they have to be right, they have to be correct. You also have to basically dissect everything and filter everything through tools of critical thinking and just general understanding. So once again, going back to me, because me as an example is perfect because I live my life and kind of can give you example with my life. Basically, whatever I'm trying to understand, I try to understand it through my perspective. And also, even when I'm trying to understand other people, I'm extremely interested in their perspective because I understand myself. I had many perspectives that were completely wrong in my life, and I was extremely surprised that that was so. But eventually, through trial and error and going through adversities, I kind of understood that at the end of the day, I only can trust myself, but understanding other people is also extremely beneficial, and basically having the perspective of somebody else, perspective of a different situation, perspective of like a book, philosopher, or documentary. All of this needs to be combined within your understanding. And in general, what I'm saying, you cannot really take things as a default. You need to filter them through your own understanding. You need to filter them through, and you also need to filter your understanding with other people's understandings and all this knowledge that's out there. And I know the way I'm saying it is very convoluted and kind of complex, but at the same time also obvious, which is also like kind of contradiction. But what I'm saying, there is a lot to. So there is this saying like, you are God. And I don't want to start guru bullshit, you are God. But if you truly embrace yourself and embrace the knowledge, embrace critical thinking, embrace also ideals, but balance ideals that are with nature, within nature, you can slowly start understanding what is going on. But if you just virtue signaling or being outraged or taking things as a default, and also on top of it, if you don't have real adversity in life, or you are basically going through life like you have at some point, let's say you made a kid in early stage of your life and you had no choice to ever explore anything, just provide for the family. That's not a bad thing. That's not really a bad thing, but maybe because of it, you never were able to explore certain things. So there's a lot of roadblocks that are kind of invisible, and we don't even understand that we are facing roadblocks. Uh, I think this podcast is very convoluted, and I'm sorry if I'm not making any sense, but what I'm trying to say is that today, sort of really weak type of mentality, and also not even trusting yourself, not even understanding who you are, all this sort of stuff kind of makes all these issues in the world. And basically, in order to kind of grow as a whole civilization and really find a common ground, we really need to have understanding of reality through adversity. And basically we need to go through many difficulties in life to appreciate it. And once again, I feel we have too easy, and too easy is actually bad. And I wrote this down recently. At some point, when I had too good, it was bad, and when and that too good took me to very bad, which was good. And basically, that's the message I'm trying to send. Sorry if I confused the shit out of you. That was not my intention, but I believe I gave you small pieces and bits that you might take it as like a golden nugget. And the reason why I'm not really going too deep and going very vaguely about it is because although I don't really care about political correctness anymore, but I don't really want to attack people because basically I'm speaking about most people in today's time. So many people that listen, they can take it as I'm attacking them. But that's not my point. I'm actually, instead of attacking, I'm not trying to attack nobody. I'm just trying to show people that there is different ways of thinking because I've been there. I used to be extremely ignorant and really uh, intimidated of everything, and even till today I'm intimidated of everything. But at the same time, I really want to live my life, and if I want to do something, even though I'm scared, I'm not afraid to be scared. And uh, I'm not a person that just jumps off of a cliff without thinking. Sometimes it takes me years to do things that I'm intimidated of. But if I really want to do it, I'm doing it. And once again, I'm going through adversity, and basically I'm understanding everything through myself, but also I'm truly open. Like I understand that I understand. I know that I don't know. There is a lot of complex ideas that you need to understand and go through. Even like I was saying, even thing like technological detox itself can really open your mind to another universe of understanding. And what's funny is another universe of understanding is pretty much the understanding we should all have as a default. It's just, once again, there is a lot of misinformation, mismatch, contradictory information, crossing information. It's just, it's like a huge cloud of confusion, and unfortunately, too many people are sure of themselves, and they really, for most part, they don't really even understand themselves to begin with. If you don't understand yourself as a person, how the fuck you are sure of yourself? That right away is like a contradiction, and obviously those people are not sure of themselves, but obviously they get outraged and they create all this virtue signaling that really is not helping but burning things down, and they are for most part unaware, unbeknownst to them. And once again, I'm not trying to attack anybody, I'm just trying to give some sort of understanding of this craziness as a too good of a society life type of situation. Be safe out there, motherfuckers. If you like me, like this, review my podcast, and I have many other things going from photography to jiu-jitsu, and I also do even handyman stuff. Check out my website michalward.net if you want to contact me or do something with me. I'm also possibly single. Bye bye. Peace out.